I still remember the day Favour's life took a turn. None of us saw it coming. It was an afternoon filled with sunshine, laughter, and warm greetings in the little church that had become a second home to us. But it was also the day that the mysterious box appeared and everything changed. Favour had always been known for her kindness. She wasn't just any church member. She was the one who would pray for you when your family was sick, lend a helping hand when you struggled, and offer words of encouragement when hope seemed lost. People loved her deeply, and they showed it. Sometimes it was in words, other times in gifts. Favour never saw anything wrong in accepting these tokens of appreciation. They came from genuine hearts, she believed. But on this particular day, it was different. A man named Ade, who rarely spoke but always sat at the back of the church, walked up to Favour after service. He carried a small, intricately carved wooden box, the type that you will find in the marketplace, with patterns that told stories of the ancestors. He handed it to her, with his eyes looking strange, as if he held a secret. "This is for you," he said. His voice was soft but sure. Favour, with her usual warm smile, thanked him, thinking nothing of it. After all, she was used to receiving gifts, and she believed every one of them was given in good faith. But as she held the box, a strange chill ran down her spine. Something felt off. As I watched her, I also felt a strange chill running down my spine, but I could not quite place it. I watched as Favour slipped the box into her bag and continued talking to others as if nothing had happened. That night, Favour opened the box at home. Inside it, she found a shiny bracelet made of beads that shone in a way she had never seen before. It was beautiful, almost too beautiful. She smiled, thinking of Ade's kindness, and slipped the bracelet onto her wrist. For a moment, she felt a rush of warmth, like the embrace of the sun. But then, it was strangely followed by a sensation, a tightness around her heart, like a heavy chain being slowly fastened. Days passed, and Favour started to change. At first, the change was very subtle. She became quieter, more reserved. She stopped laughing as much, and those who came to her for prayer or encouragement would leave with a sense of heaviness. It was as if a shadow followed her, dimming the light she once carried. I remember one evening after Bible study when a friend, Kemi, whispered to me, "Something isn't right with Favour. Have you noticed?" I had noticed. Everyone had noticed. The sparkle in her eyes was gone, replaced with a distant look. It was as if she was present, but absent at the same time. When you ask her, Favour would just shrug it off, saying she was just tired and needed to rest. It wasn't until one Sunday morning that the truth began to unravel. Favour fainted during worship. Panic erupted in the church, and we all gathered around her, praying and fanning her with handkerchiefs. When she finally came to, her eyes were filled with tears and she whispered, "I need help." That evening, a group of us, including the pastor, gathered at Favour's house. She sat on her couch. The bracelet was on her wrist. It was glistening under the dim light. As she spoke, we listened in silence. She told us how, since the day she put the bracelet on, she felt bound, emotionally, spiritually, nightmares plaguing her sleep, and she felt a heaviness she couldn't explain. Ade's name was mentioned, and the pastor's face darkened. Pastor, he was a man known for his discernment. He stood up and said, "We need to pray, but more than that, we need faith." The next hour was filled with prayers, voices rising in unity. As the prayers grew stronger, Favour's body trembled. The bracelet, which had been so beautiful, began to lose its shine. It was turning dull, and then suddenly it cracked. Finally, with one last cry, Favour tore it off. It fell to the floor. When she looked up, there was peace in her eyes. The shadow had lifted. In the days that followed, Favour told us how she had cried to God, asking for forgiveness and help. She realized that while gifts given out of love were fine, not everything handed with a smile came from a place of goodness. It turned out that Ade had harbored a long-hidden resentment, and the bracelet was more than just a gift. It was a tool meant to harm her. As for Ade, he never returned to the church, and the whispers about him faded with time. But the lesson that we all learned, it stayed with all of us. It taught us to be discerning, to seek God's wisdom even in small things, and to remember that the enemy often comes disguised. Favour's story wasn't just one of struggle, but of redemption. And it was a reminder that when we seek God with all of our hearts, even the heaviest chains can be broken.